Hi everybody, this is now Sunday morning, and now this is where everything's going to happen in terms of the prize giving. But before we do that, the judges are going to be talking about the detail of how they judged the reserve champion in that pond, and then of course in this pond is going to be the grand champion, where they're going to discuss how and why they selected this particular fish. So stay tuned, and you're going to definitely enjoy it. Thanks very much. Right, what we did was, we did with a drone, just to show you from a top view and give you a perspective of the show. And there's the particular layout. Once again, Jumpers Lane venue, an absolutely beautiful venue for family. The judges walking around now, what they were doing yesterday, they were busy judging all the fish. So we're just taking you on a little bit of a memory of yesterday, so that you can see how they went around judging. And the judging went through very successfully. There was quite a few debate on the on various fish and the placings, but that's good. That means that there's good competition. And I have to tell you that the fish entrance for this show has been fantastic. A lot of the judges walking towards the pond to get ready, and that was now Saturday morning. Them checking their notes, just making absolutely sure that they familiarize themselves with the particular fish that they need to judge at that given moment. So they normally start from grand champion and work to reserve, and then what they do is they will then judge the rest of the fish. So that is basically an overview of what they were doing yesterday morning. The important thing is always to get the big awards out of the way, and then to work through the various size categories and baby grand champion and so forth. So as you having a look at these beautiful fish and what the judges were doing yesterday, the judges are ready right now to discuss the two fish that have won the top two prizes. Once again, all accolades to the staff and to all the management and to all the runners that you see there that has helped make this an absolute success. A lot of people working in the background, and I'd like to compliment them all, including the exhibitors and of course the committee that has put so much hard work into this. Water quality has been absolutely phenomenal, very good. Boil water coming through all the time. There you can see now the judges with a scribe busy judging and placing the necessary fish. As you can see, there's a lot that goes on. The judging, for those that wonder how a person looks at a fish from a judging perspective, always from the top and above the lateral line. So in other words, nothing under the belly, if you know what I mean. So everything that you're seeing right on the top. Netting must be done perfectly, and bowling, when it comes to the larger fish, they don't get bowled. They get netted, but they don't go into a bowl generally. The smaller categories, they go into a bowl. Here you can see quite a lot of debate, making absolutely sure that the photographs that were taken of the various fish, that what they're judging is the right fish. No mistake whatsoever. Again, the drone showing us a beautiful aerial view of the show. Without judges, you can't have a show this quality. There's a complete overview of the venue. Once again, thank you to Jumpers Lane for having this venue available for everybody. The weather today is absolutely perfect. A little bit of a breeze, but sun is shining, so we're just about ready with hats on. Okay, so we're ready to go over now to the judges. So stay tuned, and you can hear what gets said.
One more.
Right.
Right, the judges are just taking a photograph now, and then of course Dean Brits, he's the show chairman, the judge that is going to be the head judge basically at the show, and he's going to be talking together with the rest of the judges in terms of what we see.
Morning, good morning, welcome. We've just had a very successful Free State 2021 koi show. It's our first koi show in South Africa virtually in over 2 years with the virus, so very well done to Free State on managing to put this koi show together. As you can see, we have hygiene between all the ponds to prevent any contamination. We had the koi show yesterday, quite an involved lengthy day of all the judges walking around comparing all the koi in their different categories and varieties and sizes. The first thing the judges do at the beginning of the day is they go around and they pick about 5 nominations of the biggest and what we consider the best koi in the koi show, normally from the size 9, the biggest size over 75 centimeters. We then go and deliberate at length, and we come back and look at least 3 or 4 times. We narrow it down, and then we look at have a big discussion again on the merits and demerits of the koi. This pond here has we have the second best koi in the koi show, the reserve grand champion. It's an 82 centimeter, what we refer to as a Mariten Kahaku. It's a 3-step, which we call a sandan pattern. Kahaku are basically a white-based fish with a red pattern. We call the red, we refer to it as he or Benny. This koi has a phenomenal body. The biggest point on judging is the body. The most points we award for that in our judging criteria. Then we go into the quality. The quality is overall in all the different colors, the skin, etc. And then we go onto the pattern as well. That's not all about pattern. We look at lastly the finishing on the koi, which is on the day. We're judging on the day as the koi presents. So it may be in a better condition on the day or not. And the luster of the koi, the shine on the skin, etc. We're just going to try and lift the koi a little bit. We don't really bowl these big koi, obviously, to prevent any damage. And this is as far as we go, just to raise the koi so that we get a better viewpoint of the koi. I'm just going to ask for a few comments from the fellow judges. I'll start with Mike Harvey on the right here. He's one of our 2 certified judges in South Africa. And Mike, just a few comments where we started with the body on the koi.
Yeah, one of the most important aspects of judging is the body shape. We give 40% of the marks, theoretical marks, to body. This koi has a really beautiful body, beautiful symmetry from the head down, very thick peduncle. So from a body shape, can't fault it. Then we look at the quality of the the shiroji or the white or the red, and that we allocate a theoretical 30 points to. And this koi has beautiful and shiroji. You can see the white very strong. Then we go to pattern. 20% goes to pattern, and we look at the characteristics of each variety and what that pattern should be. We like to see pattern on the head, body, right through to the tail, and its balances. This one particularly has what we call a Mariten, the he marking on the head, and a similar marking right at the back, which actually balances it out nicely. That's pattern, and then 10% theoretical goes to what we call state of finish. That's the luster, how well developed the he is, and obviously this koi has a beautiful finish as well, and a well-deserved reserve grand champion.
Okay. Chaps, gentlemen, to get a koi to this state of finish at this size, I know the owner, Mr. Hannes van Asperken, bought this koi from a koi farm called Taniguchi Koi Farm in Japan. I've been fortunate to go there on a number of occasions. He's a fantastic koi breeder. He was described by a man who we refer to as Kato-san. He's now deceased. He was a past chairman of our World Koi Organization, ZNA. And he described Yuichi Taniguchi as the young hope breeder of Japan for its future of koi breeding. So he highly respected the gentleman where Hannes obtained this fish, and he's grown it on substantially, Hannes. So it speaks volumes to the koi keeping ability of Mr. Hannes van Asperken. Yeah. That means that his pond situation is perfect, his filtration, his water quality, his feeding regime, and his very careful observation of the koi on a daily basis to check if it's developing any viruses or sicknesses or any damage. And then of course he had to transport these koi all the way from Vryburg, which is no easy task, and to get it here and present it in this state of finish is a hang of achievement. I'll just ask Harry Becks, our other certified judge, just a few comments on the presence of this koi. We also look at the presence in the pond.
Hi, Mike has alluded to the pattern and the balance. The Mariten Kahaku is one of the most difficult to achieve. It has to be born like that. You can't make it like that. And it's rare, very, very rare.
So we can't really see it swimming here, but I think Harry also alluding to the way it swims in the pond. It's got quite a presence. You see it's got a very powerful body. We also look at the tail piece of if a koi has a beautiful front part but the tail is very thin, then obviously it lets it down and it makes it not look in proportion. So it's got a very powerful overall body with a very thick, what we call the peduncle at the tail.
And it's 82 centimeters.
82 centimeters, yeah. It's still a relatively young koi, so this koi will probably still grow anything up to another 10, 15 centimeters. And I look forward to hopefully seeing it at a show again in future. Anybody else would like to say something here?
That's an absolutely incredible fish, and yet it's not the best fish on show. It's the second best, as a reserve grand champion. The main champions in that pond.
If everyone's happy, should we move over to the main koi in the show? Any questions?
On this fish.
All happy. We're going to move over there. Bring that net. Is that all right, Kevin? Just do the same. I think can we stand more on this side in the sun, or where do you want us? Can we move in from this side, guys, so we get in the sun? That's coming, Vin. Shall I stand more in the middle? Come in, guys. Okay. Facing there. Can we go? All right. Chaps, here we have the pond of the best fish in the koi show. Koi show is Free State Koi Show 2021. This is just under 90 centimeters, so it's quite substantially bigger than our reserve grand champion. And again, I think we've just discussed the first thing we look at is the body and the big fish and the presence. And if you look in this pond and you look at this fish, it's a massive body and a massive presence in the pond. I'm going to hand over to Mike Harvey here just to say a few things on how we deliberated between these two koi and reached this decision that this was slightly better than the other koi in the other pond.
Right. Well, I think the body shapes are both excellent. What you might notice is that the Grand Champion has a slightly different hue of red, the he, to the Reserve Grand Champion. It's a slightly more orangey tinge, But what we look for is the thickness and quality and the edge, what we call kiwa, which is the back end of the red pattern of the scales. There it has good definition, and again, very good white. Often you find on large koi like these that the head can tend to be a little bit creamy or yellow. And if you look at this, an 89 centimeter fish, and look at the whiteness on the head, it's really impressive. So yeah, again, all the body shape issues. One of the things we also always look at body shape is the pectoral fins, which we mustn't forget. We like to have nice rounded pectoral fins at the edges rather than what we call sickle shaped fins. And again, beautiful finnage and very little, if anything, to fault on this koi. Really beautiful.
Just to add, interesting guys, when we consider the pattern in a koi does not have to be symmetrical. As you can see here, the red he pattern is almost asymmetrical. The biggest point with the pattern is that it balances down the koi. So we'll start from the front, from the head, and look how your eye is drawn all the way down the koi because of the balance to the pattern, be it an asymmetrical pattern. It pulls your eye straight from the nose. It's complemented by the white in the front, and then you get all your red wrapping patterns going all the way down like a stepping pattern, but large red markings which are much more impressive than small little markings, very bold. And then right at the back, of course, there's a break before the tail with white again to complement and enhance. And obviously the soroji, which is the white skin, is also enhanced by the strength of the red he patterns, the consistency and the sharpness of the red at the back, the kiwa, and on the front of the red where it underlies the white scales, there's very little bleeding red or beni, which we call sashi. So the koi is very well finished in terms of overall appearance. This koi was a Momotaro koi farm bred koi, which is another very large koi farm in Japan. Daisuke is the chap there, Daisuke-san, and they're not only famous for their amazing koi, but equally they have one of the best luxury sports car outlets in Japan. So they not only have Bugatti sports cars, but virtually Bugatti koi as well. So it's quite a privilege to go there. It backs onto a very big river in Japan, and the koi farm itself is massive. They've got a 1 million litre koi show pond inside one of their halls inside, which is, you have to visit it if you go to Japan. It's quite amazing. Harry, would you like to say anything on the koi overall?
One of the amazing parts about the fish we have here and the quality is that a little town like Bloemfontein, it has suddenly blossomed from being a tiny little show to a substantial show. I mean, fish like this, you don't see at every koi show. Also, people come from far and wide, and there's something for everybody. You know, for the small koi keeper, for the big koi keeper, they all compete equally. Yeah.
Again, sorry, this is also owned by Mr. Hannes van Asvik, and so he's done extremely well. Best koi in the show and the second best koi. So a massive kudu to Hannes.
One of the things I just wanted to mention, if you look at this Grand Champion, look at the shape of the head and how beautiful, it's not a sharp point, it flows beautifully from the front right across without having a pinched nose, or this head often in big koi tends to be slightly smaller than desired, whereas this koi has really beautiful lines with the head flowing straight through to the body. Very impressive. Sorry, carry on.
Chaps, if anybody would like to ask us, any of the public here, any questions, you're welcome to. I think if we've got a bit of limited time, but
Can I ask a question?
Certainly.
From a judging perspective,
Thank you.
How do the judges deal with he in the dorsal fin?
in the dorsal fin.
Yes.
Okay, I'll let Mike explain, but obviously on the size of the koi comes into it.
Yeah. Obviously, if it's the whole dorsal, ideally the dorsal should be white. Start off from there. Bleeding into the dorsal is I won't say a serious demerit, because it's not a serious demerit, but it is a demerit when you're judging. But particularly in a smaller fish, it would be more of a serious demerit than in a fish. You know, you cannot expect perfection in any fish. So yes, we'd like to have seen a purely white there, but it's almost irrelevant in a fish this size.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I think also the white line, if you look at the line of the fish, the white from the head going through, and you look at the dorsal, there may be he bleeding in slightly, but it's still got the overall white line right down, including most of the dorsal. So it's not a major detraction. If you look, the koi is so big and of such a good quality, it almost fades into insignificance, the tiny bit of red that's in there. And where it is, it's pretty much in one sort of, it's quite strong in one pattern, and it's not untidy or with the little streaks or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Basically, I see it follows up from a dam,
absolutely.
not out of Shira.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other questions, chaps?
Yeah.
Jim?
So I just wanted to reiterate a point that I think Harry made earlier, that the overall quality of the fish at this show is astounding. And the Free State chapter is not one of SAKKS's biggest chapters. It's not the biggest chapter, but it has put on a tremendous show with tremendous quality fish. And the fish, the koi that came second here would win at many shows. And this grand champion would probably win at shows around the world. This would be in contention.
100%.
It's such a high quality of fish at this show.
Any more questions?
Any other questions, chaps?
Okay.
All right, so, I think that concludes our discussion on the Grand Champion 2021, and we'll hand back to the chaps at the interviewer, Kevin Till.
Dean, I think
Yeah.
we can all just give a round of applause for these beautiful fish.
100%.
And as I said a couple of times on the show and during the show, you know, we can't possibly have a koi show without judges. It's a critical part, and we learn all the time from you, and we're so grateful. So thank you very much.
Thank you. It's only our pleasure.
I think I'd also just like to say something. You know, a show like this, you know, we come, it's great, we love it here. But a show like this is put on by all the people behind the scenes, and they deserve far more congratulations and thanks than any of us here. The guys that help running, lifting, bowling fish, SAKKS behind the computer, and I really think they deserve a round of applause, so well done to them.
Absolutely. Well said.
I think also thank you to the centre here for putting on a fantastic venue.
Absolutely.
And we hope to see the koi show back here in Free State in future years. Tremendous family centre, and it's so important to have families involved, and so gratifying to see so many families around here, wives, girlfriends, children, and because we're in the Free State, even the Omars and Opas, many of them coming around and supporting, which is what it's all about.
Okay.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, chaps. Sorry I couldn't get to everyone.